So, Sun and Moon is kinda getting old nowadays. A lot of people forget that the last sets were printed in 2019, and lo and behold, we're already on to our next generation almost. So, I recently saw this TCG Player article and thought, wouldn't it be neat if we read about the top 10 most expensive Sun and Moon Pokemon cards that are listed on TCG Player? But before we do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we take a look at this TCG Player article listing out the top 10 most expensive Sun and Moon Pokemon cards. This article was published in early April of 2022. Definitely recommend going and checking out TCG Player's article. As always, the link will be down below in the description. If you like today's content, definitely feel free to leave a like on the video, and hey, if you're not already, subscribe to join the Gengar Gang. Other than that, let's jump right on into this. Today's video is probably not going to be the most insane. I'm just probably going to be reacting to what I already have a creeping suspicion on based on certain images that we're seeing on screen. But let's withhold any judgment and scroll along. So, Sun and Moon kicked off the iconic series of the same name, which made its debut in 2017 and concluded with Cosmic Eclipse in 2019. So that makes sense. Every Pokemon generation in modern history runs for approximately 3 years. So in this particular case, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Ditto, similar concept with Sword and Shield running from 2020, 2021, and 2022, and presumably Scarlet and Violet, or the Scarlet and Violet generation, will probably run from 2023, 24, and 25. Now, of those cards that ran through the Sun and Moon era, you can see that they had some updated card designs, and then also heralded the arrival of Pokemon GX, bigger, badder Pokemon featuring attacks so powerful they could only be used once in a game. And bear in mind, this is a pretty standard approach that is usually taken in order to make sure that there's some sort of new exploratory gimmick or mechanic in the game at any given point in time. So we've seen this with EX era cards, we've seen this with the XY era, which also had EX Pokemon, and then GX, VMAX, etc., etc. So, which of these must-have cards from the series have climbed to astronomical prices? Well, interesting you should ask, because they've created a list for us. So the first card up on the list is Charizard and breaks in. It's the secret rare rainbow rare card from Cosmic Eclipse. Cosmic Eclipse was very popular because it was a very large set. It was also home to many tag team Pokemon, as well as some really iconic artworks. And although this Charizard isn't one of the most expensive Charizards, and certainly won't even be one of the most expensive on this list, it is a Charizard nonetheless, and therefore did catch the attention of many collectors. So you can still pick this card up for about $100 or right underneath there, which shockingly isn't a crazy amount of money compared to some of the cards that we will see on this list. Next up is Rosa Full Art. So this is another card from Cosmic Eclipse, and honestly, between these two cards right here, the Charizard and the Rosa, it's one of the reasons why Cosmic Eclipse has become such a fan favorite set. So do bear in mind that oftentimes when we see articles like this, what ends up happening is the price of the individual cards from a vintage perspective, or a quote-unquote near vintage perspective, will be an influential component of how the set overall ages. So if you're looking and you're thinking, well, hey, I want to invest in some sets, this is some of the data and some of the information you may want to consider as you're going about your investigatory and research steps in the process. Because in looking at these cards, what you'll be able to determine is, here are the cards that are in demand, here are the cards that are selling for a very high price. It is therefore very likely that the sets that these cards are contained within will have a lot of really good interest down the road in the future. So, another denizen of Cosmic Eclipse, this Full Art Rosa breaks the $100 mark because of its rarity. It's one of just two cards that feature a the distinctively pigtailed character, with the other being a regular art version of the same card. So, you know, Rosa's a very popular character for one reason and one reason only, and that has to be the waifu reason. And obviously, as a result of that, the card also carries a pretty significant premium to it. Next up is Lucia, another waifu card, this one out of Celestial Storm. Lucia arrived at the PTCG via Celestial Storm and depicted the card on a very colorful background. This popular trainer is well known for her role in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, both remakes of the original Pokemon games, and I think that is a pretty decent reason why she is such an expensive card, but obviously on top of that, waifu tax yet again. Next up is another Celestial Storm trading card. So this is the Rayquaza GX Secret Rare. The article note is, we're back to Rainbow Rares. Rayquaza is consistently popular in the Pokemon franchise. This is true. Rayquaza is one of the most popular Pokemon, and so it doesn't really shock anybody that Pokemon cards like this one, which feature very popular Pokemon, would be the same exact cards that end up being very popular in the long run. And yeah, so this is one of those cards that's gotten quite a bit of treatment. It also got Rainbow Rare treatment in addition to Shiny treatment for Hidden Fates, which is also pretty cool. And so there are a few different reasons why this card is very popular and very well loved. And it's also pretty neat to see that so far in the top 6 cards, or the bottom 4 cards, I should say, we've seen 2 from Celestial Storm and 2 from Cosmic Eclipse. Next up is another very popular card based off a very popular Pokemon, Lugia GX, coming in at about $145. Here we have the master of the legendary bird trio, who appears on 26 different Pokemon cards to date. One thing that I think is important to note is that it is normally muted. Lugia by nature is a Pokemon with white and blue as its major color palette, and so the rainbow depiction of the Pokemon really did kind of help it stand out a little bit, because it gave the Pokemon a little bit of dimension that its actual color scheme doesn't actually even give it on a day-to-day. I think Lugia is greatly influenced and helped by the fact that it was in a movie, and I think generally speaking, a lot of folks look to Lugia as one of their favorite legendary Pokemon, if not Pokemon in general, and so it makes a lot of sense that you know, as soon as it gets a Sun and Moon era treatment in a secret rare, it would immediately command, again, a pretty decent market premium. Scrolling down the list, we have another very infamous tag team Charizard card, Reshiram and Charizard GX. So the only thing I really have to say about this is that it's a Charizard as well as a Reshiram. One thing that is important to note is that a lot of people look back at the Sun and Moon era, and one of the things that they immediately think of and really kind of stands out amongst the crowd are the tag team cards. This was something of a subset within a subset within a subset. So if you're really thinking about it, there are 4 particular sets that had the tag team Pokemon cards in them, and Unbroken Bonds was one of those sets. A lot of people are fans of those tag team cards because they can depict 2 potentially of your favorite Pokemon on a particular trading card. And so one thing to bear in mind is that you might want to keep an eye out for any set that contains this type of special gimmick. Nowadays we have a bunch of copycats, but I think as time has gone on, the tag team cards in specific have aged quite well, and that might be an indicator of the potential for investability in a set like Unbroken Bonds, because it currently sits in that weird, basically modern, but not really when you're looking at the fact that it's out of print now type of situation. Scrolling down the list and moving into the top 4 cards, we have Lily, the full art, at a whopping $240. I just want to point out, literally from the 5 spot to the 4 spot, we shot up about $80. So that's a pretty significant increase in price. Lily is from Ultra Prism, which is one of the reasons why Ultra Prism is a very expensive and highly sought after set in the Pokemon TCG. Lily is obviously the trainer that Cosmog was with basically the entire game, and so as a result of it not only being a waifu card, but also her prominence in the Sun and Moon Nintendo Pokemon video games, she commands a pretty solid premium at $240. Moving into the top 3, and we have, surprise surprise, a alternate art tag team card. Now, in this week's video that came out on Thursday, I pointed out, hey, alternate arts are getting overused right now. However, back in the day, you'll notice that the number of alternate art cards for any given set were relatively low. More importantly, not that they always did this, but they usually reserved alternate art treatment for tag team cards. And I think what separates these alternate art cards from other alternate art cards that we might compare to again today, I think the real gimmick and trick behind it is the idea that you're looking at, again, that subset and then alternate art treatment. So you're looking at tag team cards, meaning it has to be two Pokemon that for one reason or the other go together. So Latios and Latias, the Lati twins. And then you get this really astounding artwork on top of that. And I think that's why you see this card go for nearly $300. Now, I know that's really not much comparing, to some of the more modern cards that I've covered on the channel recently, including that alternate art Umbreon, but in normal market situations where that card is in a set where it had gotten massively reprinted, prices would have gone down, and it's very likely then that this particular card would be more expensive. So that's just one thing to bear in mind, is that right now, given that there are some modern cards that are coming out in sets from 6 months ago that are more expensive, it's probably a good opportunity for you to start picking up a few of these cards if you were interested in getting them graded or things of the sort. Obviously, you need to be very discerning with the quality and condition of those cards, but you can take it step by step. In the number 2 spot, surprise, surprise, we have Charizard GX, the secret rare. So this is the Rainbow Rare Burning Shadows card, coming in at a whopping $393. So no surprise there, but finally we're at that point where we are over and above the Umbreon alternate art VMAX card from Evolving Skies. Now, time to circle back to Charizard once again. Yes, I concur, but this time the character doesn't have to share the spotlight, so this is the first time Charizard's on this list without any type of tag team gimmick to it, right? So the Burning Shadows Charizard is another one of those cards, primarily because Charizard is in that set. A lot of people like opening up that set. The Burning Shadows Charizard is one of the most notoriously difficult cards to pull, and yet people continue to seek out opportunities to open those packs. Again, hint hint, this is probably a very good indicator of the future investability of that set, should you choose to go out of your way to make some investments in the Sun and Moon era, now that we are, a few years removed from it. And finally but not least, perhaps a surprise to nobody, the number 1 card from the Sun and Moon era is the Charizard GX Hidden Fates Shiny Vault card. So our little Flaming Fire Iguana boy finally got some shiny love, and here it is. So in Hidden Fates, this was probably the card to pull. Hidden Fates was great for a variety of reasons, but shockingly enough, a $401 card could be pulled from the set. Bear in mind, this card has a history of creating a lot of hype around a set, and given that Hidden Fates in general was such a famed and beloved set, it's probably reasonable to think that if we were looking at a list of top 40 cards, I have a weird feeling spots 11 through 40 would probably presumably be basically covered with Hidden Fates cards nonetheless. So another very interesting thing for you to consider. Now, in terms of my overall thoughts, again, Hidden Fates being an investable set, definitely nothing that I don't think any reasonable person kind of already knew. But if you notice the set names here, I think that's an important bit of an indication. In the future, people are going to want access to these cards to open, to collect, to hunt. And so things like Burning Shadows, Team Up, Ultra Prism, all great sets if you were interested in doing a little bit of buying. The same for any of these sets, right? It's also very powerful when a set like Celestial Storm might not have the most expensive card, or might not have, you know, some of the most expensive cards in it, but because you have some of the lesser expensive cards that still add up to a pretty significant premium, I think it creates an opportunity where these sets sealed may go for quote-unquote less money, you know, card per card, than something like, you know, Team Up or Burning Shadows, yet at the same time create a very good value proposition. The set has tons of great cards in it, and yeah, you never really know, right? Everything's like a lottery ticket when it comes to opening up some of these modern Pokemon packs. And to be fair, some of the seeding is very similar to what we're seeing today. So again, when you see something like this, I think it's a true indicator of value, and I think it can certainly suggest that these are very investable sets that you might want to pick up some more of if you don't already have some, even if you are now buying at a little bit more of a premium. But let me know your thoughts down below, friends. Those were the top 10 Sun and Moon era cards and their most expensive cards for the era. But let me know. I'm a big fan of all the cards here, and I definitely think that they deserve the top spots. So, you know, it certainly doesn't surprise me. Like I said, if they expanded this list to top 30, 40, 50, we'd see a lot more Hidden Fates, because right outside of the $100 rung, I'm sure there are tons of full art shiny GXs that sit there now, especially the evolutions. So just some other random things to consider. But other than that, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to leave a like down below, and hey, if you're not already, consider subscribing to join the Gengar Gang. Other than that, thanks again. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday, and we will talk soon. Peace.